We went from bad to worse, and the question is now, how much worse can it get? 2025 was supposed to be our year. Trump came back with a pro-crypto administrations, markets pumping. That was really the narrative going into the year. Instead, we're now looking at one of the worst altcoin sentiments we've seen in the history of crypto. It honestly feels worse than the 2019, 2020 bear market and altcoin dryad that we've seen. And I personally, honestly, did not see that coming. I was entirely wrong. A lot has changed. The industry feels like has changed entirely. And we're seeing a major gap now between the original cypherpunk movement and institutional adoption. We're going to be talking about this in today's video. Now, first off, what actually happened? We're seeing a new macro reality. Sticky inflation, rate uncertainties, liquidity is not expanding the way that people have expected, and the risk appetite is shrinking. At the same time, we're seeing OG commodities, gold, silver, pumping, making new all-time highs, and also trading with extreme volatility. But none of that is spilling over into crypto. None of that is rotating into altcoins. And markets don't really pump because of politics. They usually pump because of liquidity. What happened also was October 10. The 10-10 market dump. Atom went to 1 cent. All of the altcoins were entirely drained and wiped out. So when liquidity is thin, it also doesn't really take much to move the markets. And we've seen that on that day. Third, what has happened? Demand collapsed. And this really is the main story. Retail is gone. There was a bit of a retail phase in 2024, maybe early 2025 around meme coins predominantly. But we didn't see a narrative rotation like we used to see in the old kind of altcoin market cycles, right? We see deployment has slowed down massively. No narrative rotation, and ETF flows concentrated predominantly in Bitcoin, but none of that also spilled over into anything else. So altcoins didn't get sold into strength, they got entirely ignored. And it's even worse than just betting on the wrong vertical, right? Because nothing really caught a bit. Now, here in this channel, we've been predominantly focused on the Cosmos ecosystem for the past couple of years, right? That's really been the ecosystem that we're home to. And I personally still believe in the philosophy and the ideas that Cosmos invented, right? It was very early, and the creator of the app chain thesis, sovereignty, interoperability, and horizontal scalability through IBC, the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. But last year, a lot has happened, right? We have a new leadership that was very radical in resetting the entire ecosystem. And that was also an intentional move to kind of wipe out the mind share around all these dApps and applications, right? So we've seen a lot of these protocols exiting, a lot of the core contributors exiting. Then also we saw another performance of ecosystem coins. Those that were remaining were still there. That also means lower validator revenue, which accelerates this down spiral of mindshare exiting, business exiting, and contributors just leaving the ecosystem. And that might sound fatalistic, but as I mentioned, this has also been intentional. Without going too deep into that, I think it's also important to clarify what did not happen. So we talked a lot about what did happen, but now let's talk about what did not happen in crypto in 2025 and also in the past 6-8 weeks that we're now in 2026. So what did not happen? We did not see any systemic collapse. We did not see a global DeFi unwind. We did not see a large-scale protocol failure or fundamental disappearance of infrastructure, right? None of that has happened. The rails are still there. And in fact, they just got hardened. They got more resilient because in tough times, I said this in one of the recent videos, tough times make strong coins, make strong protocols, make strong builders, right? Make this whole system and innovation more resilient in the long run. And yes, they also wipe out a lot of the chains and tokens along the way, but those that survive will come out stronger from these times. What happens silently in the background is the takeover from institutions. They're getting exposure and building products. BlackRock has bought over $50 billion of BTC. They're now one of the largest holders of Bitcoin. And that has happened over the past 2 years, ever since the Bitcoin ETF got approved in January of 2024. ETF projects and products in general have strengthened also custody dominance. Intermediaries are making more money than ever, right? Custodians, exchanges, brokers, everyone that is in this intersection between institutions and the blockchains on chain is making an absolute killing right now. And that's just a reality that is currently happening. So the irony of all of this is that our on-chain crypto native altcoin bags are bleeding, but Wall Street crypto is thriving. And that leads me to the core tension that we're seeing right now, which is the gap that is widening. The original cypherpunk movement, which is deeply rooted in empowering the people, self-custody, privacy, financial sovereignty. Now we are seeing that original philosophy colliding with a new reality in crypto, which is the institutional rails, custodians, central bank digital currencies, and also government integration, right? Those guys have arrived, they're here, and they will only increase their exposure and participation in this industry. So this ideological divergence is becoming a reality. At the same time, we also see the Cosmos ecosystem that has entirely shifted focus from an interoperability first sovereign chain kind of ecosystem towards monetizing the Cosmos stack, monetizing what has been free, open, and accessible for years, but did not generate any revenue for anyone, pretty much, while also strengthening atom value accrual. That at least is the current premise, and we're all also kind of waiting to see what that looks like. At the same time, we're seeing other stacks already progressing. Commonware, for example, that have landed the deployment by Tempo, which is the chain that Stripe is building. Hedera just announced FedEx joining their governing council. Canton with the DTCC integration already routing billions or even trillions of volume, which is absolutely insane. So there are already multiple chains well positioned to capture the institutional value that is flooding in. That is the question now if Cosmos can pull it off. And in my view, the end game for kind of the Internet of blockchains is that we're going to see multiple stacks, multiple interoperability protocols, and multiple winners, not a one winner to take it all, but we're going to see multiple winners in this Internet of blockchains. Now, how does that tie back to what we're doing here at CryptoCito, at Cosmoverse, also with the validator stake Cito? We are also evolving, right? Cosmos has evolved. We have announced that. We want to have that public dialogue between real builders that care about privacy, that have been around crypto natives for a very long time, and that are actively building towards a more decentralized future. We want to have that dialogue with people that come from the banking, fintech, even government, public sectors, right? That are entering the industry and they want to deploy different types of products, right? And I think this public dialogue is extremely, extremely important. So we're going to be more institutional, yes, but we're not going to sacrifice and we'll remain rooted in our convictions of sovereignty, interoperability, and empowering the builders. And the same counts also for this YouTube channel here. What we're trying to do is to also host more of these public dialogues, to create more content, sector-specific content around tokenization. We actually have a video series in the works together with SigChain. And the name of that mini-series is going to be Trillions, because trillions are going to enter the industry, and that will unlock a new form of wealth generation and also make it accessible to the broader public. We're also going to launch a Bitcoin-specific show, more on that coming soon. And we're also going to launch the Private Money podcast, where I want to host exactly those type of conversations that I just described, the private cypherpunk builders, privacy first, together with institutional representatives, right? And I think this public debate is very, very important to have, especially now in 2026. Now, in closing, I also want to highlight that crypto is still a very tiny industry. We're just 1/8 of the size of gold alone, which is just one commodity. It's the largest in the world, but we're still tiny compared to gold. Now, it's really not about hype. It's about survival for us crypto natives, crypto entrepreneurs. It's about positioning. It's about capturing the next wave, which, as it seems right now, is more coming from the institutional side. But I still believe at one point that we are going to see this also attract the retail audiences again. Because as I mentioned earlier, retail currently is not in the market. New retail is not coming in. But at some point, I believe they will come back in. And there needs to be a trigger. There needs to be a catalyst. And you can let me know in the comments what you think that catalyst is going to be. There are certainly different verticals that are interesting, from AI to tokenization, and many others. Maybe we're going to see new DeFi products, right? Perps trading, that can also onboard new users and new liquidity. But let me know what you think, and what you also think generally about the clash of this cypherpunk movement with institutions, and where you see this trend going to. What's the end game of that? So with that, I hope you are making it through this time. I'll see you very soon here on Cryptocito. Until then, stay safe and be good.